This is your official WWE Backlash 2020 review here on the YouTube channel. Jeff here with you. It took place from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. Let's get right into the action. They had one match on their pre-show, which was hosted by Scott Stanford and Peter Rosenberg. It was for the WWE United States title. We had Apollo Crews defending that title against Andrade Cien. They had Angel Garza and Zelina Vega come out with Andrade to start out the match, and before the match got started, Kevin Owens came out. He did commentary for the match. They pretty much gave away what the ending of the match was going to be with all these guys being out here. The match, it's a good match. I thought these guys told a pretty good story. We just get down to the end here. You knew what was going on. Apollo Crews had hit his standing moonsaults. Angel Garza gets up on the apron to do the distraction. Kevin Owens leaves commentary, gives him a stunner on the outside. Crews gets distracted for a moment, but was able to recover. He hit his sit-down powerbomb on Andrade Cien, and at 7:23 he won the match with that. So he retains here. That was it, which was fine. I had predicted he would retain here. Not a big surprise. They're not going to do really anything with Andrade Cien. I gave the match a B-. I thought these two told a pretty good story here for the short time they were given here on the pre-show. Why this match was even on the pre-show, I don't know. But I thought overall it was pretty good. I gave it a B-. That's my grade for the match. So we get on to the main show. They jerked the curtain with the WWE Women's Tag Team title match here. It was triple threat style. Sasha Banks and Bayley defending those titles against the Iconics and Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. So the way they set this one up, we had one member from each team in the ring at the same time here, and they can only tag their own teammates. They couldn't do what you normally do in a triple threat where you can tag anyone here. It had to be the respective team member here. Discombobulated is the word I used for this match. This was not a very good match. I thought it was very sloppy, very choppy, miscommunication, mistiming. Nothing really special about the match. We just get down to the end here. Alexa Bliss had gone to the top rope and hit her Twisted Bliss. I believe it was on Peyton Royce. Sasha Banks just kind of snuck in and then rolled up Alexa Bliss, and at 8 minutes and 52 seconds, she got the pin in the win for her team, being Sasha Bayley, for them to win and retain here, which was absolutely the right call here. I predicted they would retain here. I think some people thought maybe they would drop the titles here, but the fact of the matter is, on SmackDown prior to the match, they had announced that the winner of this match would go to NXT this week to face Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox for the NXT for the tag team titles here. So they all but gave away who was going to win here. If you've been paying attention, you knew that Sasha Banks and Bayley were going to be the ones winning and retaining and going to NXT, because they had said, if you've been listening long enough, that they wanted to defend those titles everywhere. So not a surprise here. They got the win. 8 minutes and 52 seconds. They won the match. I gave it a D+. It was nothing very special or memorable about the match. Next match on the card featured Jeff Hardy taking on Sheamus here in a grudge match. Of course, we saw what happened on SmackDown with the, quote, drug test that Jeff Hardy took on television. We saw him throw the alleged pee, aka apple juice, into Sheamus' face. He comically sold that. So that's what we had here. I know some people thought maybe Jeff Hardy would come out, kind of not at 100%. He looked fine here. They had the match. The match is fine. I mean, we have two good workers here, and I thought they actually told a pretty good story here. At one point, it looked like they tried to get you to think that Jeff Hardy was going to win the match. He had hit the Swanton bomb off the top rope very late in the match. It looked like he had the match won, but Sheamus had put his foot on the bottom rope for a very close near fall. Sheamus was able to recover eventually and hit the Brogue Kick after he had hit it on the outside. So he won at 16 minutes and 46 seconds. I thought Jeff Hardy was going to win here. Sheamus gets to win here, which means we had 50-50 booking, which means we're going to get another match with these guys. So we'll see where it goes. I gave the match a C+. I thought the match was decent. It was good storytelling, but it was pretty much just slightly above average in my opinion. Sheamus getting the win here, 50-50 booking, which means we're going to get another match with these two. Next match on the card was for the WWE Raw Women's title. We had Asuka defending the title against Nia Jax. One of the things I was looking for, and I think a lot of people were looking for here as well, is what would Charlotte Flair do? Would she get involved in the match? Would she come out during the match? Would she provide any type of distraction or any type of interference? Charlotte Flair never showed up here. She was not a factor in the match, which is fine. But the match itself here more or less had Asuka putting Nia Jax into some arm submissions throughout the match here. The match did not go terribly long. Nia Jax more or less just used her power here to overwhelm Asuka here. And I was saying, because I know a lot of people are watching for it now, was Nia Jax reckless? Did she do anything dangerous? I didn't see anything really dangerous or reckless out of Nia Jax here. The match ends when they're both on the outside here. Asuka had gotten her into another submission. Nia Jax had recovered and was doing some work on her. And the match ends in a double countout. 8 minutes and 26 seconds, the match ends in a double countout. Ultimately, Asuka was able to lay Nia Jax out somewhat on the outside here to save face. She retains here in a double countout. I gave the match a D. Very lazy finish here, which clearly means we're getting another match with these two. Either that or we're going to get Charlotte Flair involved now for a triple threat. It's going to be one or the other, because we did not see Charlotte Flair come out after the match. She did not attack anyone. She didn't attack Asuka. She didn't cut any promos. So we're clearly going to get something either with a rematch or a triple threat with Charlotte involved. But again, 8 minutes, 26 seconds. I gave it a D. This was not a very good match. Next match was the WWE Universal title match. It was a 2-on-1 handicap match. Braun Strowman defending that Universal title against The Miz and Morrison here. I was actually surprised how much offense The Miz and Morrison got on Strowman here. I thought this was going to be almost a squash. They get quite a bit of offense on Morrison at one point after they hit a combination skull crushing finale and foot stomp on the Strowman. They did the deal where I believe it was Morrison who went for the pin and Miz pulled him off. So they showed some jealousy there for a moment. Then they had Miz put Morrison back on Strowman. He was able to kick out. Ultimately, Strowman's able to recover, and he won with the power slam on Morrison and got the win at 7 minutes and 30 seconds. I thought this was a slightly better match than what we saw with Asuka and Nia Jax. Not much better. I gave it a C-. And then, of course, I think what people were waiting for after the match once Strowman won, and we knew he was going to retain. That was my pick, by the way. And I actually thought Asuka would retain the Raw Women's title, which she technically did. So Strowman retained, as I figured, and people were waiting to see, would The Fiend show up? Would Bray Wyatt show up? We didn't get anything here. He did not show up. There was no appearance from him here. We know that he and JoJo, Bray Wyatt, that is, they welcomed their child here, their new child recently, so congratulations to them. He was not here, so they're clearly maybe going to do something on SmackDown this week. We'll wait and see, but no Fiend appearance here. So 7 minutes, 30 seconds roughly for the match. Strowman won to retain as expected. C- is my grade. Next match was for the WWE title. Drew McIntyre defending that title against Bobby Lashley. Of course, MVP was out with Lashley throughout the match here. And early on in the match, they showed Lana backstage watching on the monitor. I know there was some interplay earlier in the show with MVP and Lana. MVP saying that MVP said to Lana that he was not the one that told her that she had to stay backstage. And they pretty much gave it away once they showed Lana watching on the monitor backstage that she was going to come out later on in the match, which she did. These two, I thought they actually had a pretty decent match here. This was not bad. I thought this was a very good showing here for Bobby Lashley. Got a lot of offense on him. He actually put Drew McIntyre into the full Nelson before the match. Give credit to McIntyre for the sell here, but he gets the match going. Lashley just works him over for a while here. Ultimately, Drew makes the comeback here. Late in the match, sure enough, Lana does come out to get involved here. After Lashley hit a spear for a very close near fall, Lana comes out here, gets up on the apron. You knew what was coming here. It was enough of a distraction here. It looked like Lashley had things going his way. Lana provided the distraction. They almost did the deal where Lana and Lashley bumped into each other initially. Eventually, Lana and MVP get wiped out on the floor. Drew McIntyre, after he hit the headbutt, does hit the Claymore, and at 13 minutes and 16 seconds, he won and retained the title against Bobby Lashley in what I thought was actually a surprisingly good match here. Clearly, the outcome was expected here. McIntyre got the win here. I gave the match a C+. It was not that bad. I thought this was actually, the match itself was better than what I was expecting it to be. Both guys, I thought, told a pretty good story here. McIntyre retaining was not a surprise. I mean, you didn't really beat Bobby Lashley clean, even though he was pinned in the middle of the ring. You had the distraction on the outside, so that's kind of how they played it off. And afterwards, once the match was over, we see some interaction with Bobby Lashley and Lana. Lana's sitting out on the floor on the outside, and then Bobby Lashley just walks right past her, and MVP walks with MVP to the back, leaving Lana there on the floor by herself. So, planting the seeds for the eventual split up and quote divorce of these two coming up. So we had that. What was supposed to be the WWE Raw Tag Team title match, because this was announced late here, so they have the Street Profits and Viking Raiders here. Instead of having an actual match here, they go for some stupid lame ass comedy here. This went for about 15-20 minutes. Just, they were, going through the building, worked their way to the outside. At one point, we see Tozawa show up with some, quote, ninjas here. They do basically some stupid comedy here. This went, like I said, 15-20 minutes, which ultimately saw in the end the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits end up in this big dumpster trash can. And if you went to my Twitter page, I had got a screenshot of that. And then I said, that's pretty much your Raw Tag Team division in a nutshell there. So, they went for lame-ass comedy. I gave this an F. There was obviously no title change. This was not an official match. This was just comedy. Didn't really need to have this on the show. It was not really needed at all, and I did not like any of this, and I saw a lot of people saying the same thing on social media, so that was it. So we get on to the, quote, greatest wrestling match ever with Randy Orton and Edge. This was taped the previous Sunday at the Performance Center prior to NXT TakeOver in Your House. I will say that, they did the deal with Howard Franco, of course, rest in peace. He did the ring intro here. They had the old Madison Square Garden microphone. That was kind of a nice little visual there. Howard Finkel did the ring announcing here. They had Charles Robinson, the referee, wearing the old school referee uniform with the bow tie. That was a nice little touch. So they had the match here. One thing, it was obvious if you were listening very closely. I mean, the audience reactions, so much dubbing here was way too obvious here. Dubbing and audience noise here it took away from the match. I thought absolutely wasn't needed here. I know they tried to make the match feel special. They had some different camera angles. They had some audio here as well. They had the camera from the roof there, from the ceiling, I thought, which was nice. And then they, from time to time, actually had one of the camera guys actually go into the ring to get some close-up shots here. So we had that. As far as this match goes, the first part of the match, I'll say I was not a fan of the first part of the match. Very slow, a lot of plotting, a lot of stalling. I thought the pacing was not very good early. Now it did pick up, and I will say I thought the middle part of the match was actually pretty good. Some good storytelling back and forth from these guys. However, we get to like the last 10 minutes of this match. Both guys are hitting finishers here, their own finishers, and also finishers from other people. Here we saw the Olympic Slam, we saw the Rock Bottom, we saw the Pedigree. Each guy, I believe, hit two of their own finishers at one point. Kick out, kick out, kick out, kick out, kick out. Was not a fan of that. Didn't like any of that. Just way too many false finishes for my liking. It's like something you would see on the indies. Now, they had kind of teased Orton to do a punt kick earlier. They teased it, but you kept it in the back of your mind, maybe that would be how they would finish the match here. Once we saw that the RKO and the Spear, respectively, from the guys was not going to win the match. We get to the end of the match here. Orton had hit Edge with a low blow. The referee did not see it. Then he does indeed hit the punt kick, and at 44 minutes and 46 seconds, Randy Orton got his 50-50 win here against Edge. Now, I thought for sure that Edge was going to win the match. I'm a little surprised that Randy Orton won here. Randy Orton did not need to win here. To have Randy Orton win here, which obviously tells me we're going to get another match with these guys, which should be the blow-off. We'll see. So they had him win 44 minutes, 46 seconds. Now the question is, was this the greatest wrestling match ever? The answer is no. Did they have a better match than they had at WrestleMania? Yes. I thought both guys really tried their hardest here. I really did. But this was not the greatest wrestling match ever, in my opinion. And of course, that's very subjective. Everyone has their own opinions. And again, I'll say I gave it a B-. This match went way too long again. They could easily have cut like 10 to 12 minutes off this match at the end. This did not need to go nearly 45 minutes once again. Now, like I said, it was better than a WrestleMania match, but it did not need to go nearly 45 minutes again. So, easily cut 10 to 12 minutes off, and I think it would have been a little bit better. Just the guys kicking out of the different finishers, all the false finishes here, I did not like any of that. So that's it. That was that. I gave it a B- with Randy Orton winning. We're going to get another match with these guys because we have 50-50 booking on the show. Let's get on to my official grade here for the show. My final grade for WWE Backlash 2020 that took place from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida is a C-. While there were some good matches, and, Randy Orton and Edge probably had the best match, if not one of the best matches on the show. I thought the rest of the show, for the most part, was either average or below average. Not a whole lot to say about it. We did not get one single title change as I predicted. I didn't think we would. I think they were trying to maybe fool some people here. I knew we weren't going to get any, and we did not get any here. I don't know. I thought for the most part, besides the match with Orton and Edge, and Apollo Crews and Andrade on the kickoff, I thought most of the rest of the show was either average or below average otherwise. So my official grade is C- for the show. Let me know down in the comments section if you agree with me and what your favorite match or moment from the show was. We'll see you the next time on the next review here on YouTube. Bye for now, everyone.